So the big question is, why can't Brian Schug, the Ellenville Village Building Inspector, remember things? It seems he's having a memory loss on certain things, and I really don't know why personally he has that, but let me just explain my situation again briefly, and I'm going to link the other previous videos so you can get the full picture if you want the full story of my dilemmas with the Village Building Inspector of Ellenville, Brian Schug. So Brian Schug, back in 2012, I spoke to Brian in person and sent him emails. I'm doing something in my backyard here at the restaurant. I'm building a fire pit. I was interested in doing an oven at the time. Back there, a wood-burning pizza oven, which I didn't do because it required further health regulations that I couldn't do at the time. It cost a lot of money to do that. You have to basically build a small little kitchen out there, running water and covered, things like that. There's more implications to doing that than just putting a fire pit out there. I put up a 20 by 20 tent. So I went to Brian Schug with all of these things I wanted to do. He actually said, this is great, and said, this is what you need to do. First, he asked for a lighting plan for the tent. Okay? The only thing he ever asked for was a lighting plan for the tent. Now he's claiming that I never got planning board approval, that I had to go in front of the planning board. So why would Brian all of a sudden just leave out the rest of the equation? If you're a building inspector and you're working for the people, you're really working for the people in the town, the village, the city, because you're there to make people safe, and you're there to hopefully encourage business and promote business, and you're supposed to be there when a business owner comes to you and saying, this is what I want to do, to give the owner the proper resources, tools, and point them in the right direction and say, this is the process. You know, Marcus, you want to build a tent out back, you want to put up a tent seasonally, you want to build a fire pit. This is what you need to do to make sure this happens legally. As opposed to saying, oh, you just need to do A and skip B, C, and D. Well, essentially, that's what Brian did. He only told me about part A, not part B and C. But now, 4 years later, he's telling me, well, you never did B and C. Well, because Brian, I didn't know about B and C. You never told me that. The tent, you said lighting. So I said, well, the tent's 20 by 20. He said, oh, 20 by 20? Anything 400 square feet or less needs no lighting plan. I said, that's perfect. It's 20 by 20. It's 400 square feet. He goes, yeah, go ahead and put it up. Have fun. Was his exact words. Go ahead and put it up. The fire pit, we had a couple of emails back and forth. I sent him the drawing. So now we go back. Now we're at 2016, 4 years later. And Brian Schug throws me under the bus in front of a health department inspector who he called in to double teaming. See, a tactic that these agencies use is they'll get other agencies involved. So the building inspector got the health department involved to come in as backup and write more tickets, write more summons, write more violations. And this is a very common tactic that they use when they really want to gang up on somebody. Now, why does Brian Schug, the Village of Ellenville Building Department Inspector, want to gang up on me? Aroma Thyme Bistro, the restaurant here in town that started it all in 2003. I've been here 13 years. I've helped this village. I'm so dedicated to this village. I do a Christmas Day soup kitchen every year that I feed anywhere between 550 people and 750 people for free. I give out meals. I've been doing that for 13. This will be our 14th or 15th year doing this. I actually did it before the restaurant even officially opened. I've been doing this. So I'm a community person. I also do Run Like the Wind race. I'm the race director for this race in town that now brings in 350 people to our town to show it off and do this great race. And you know, I've only been doing that this will be my third year of doing that. But I've never seen Brian Schug help me on my Christmas Day soup kitchen. He's never been here to help me and donate money and do this and that. So why is he picking on somebody who's doing good to the community? I took a dying race, a Run Like the Wind race that had 100 runners, 125 runners, and we have 350 runners now coming to our town. So why is this guy picking on me? I've served on numerous boards here in town. I always do volunteer work. I'm always happy to help. I always promote the village. I even have an Ellenville website, my own Ellenville website that I did 5, 6, 7 years ago because I wanted to promote everything in Ellenville. It's called Ellenville, New York, 12428.com or ellenvillewarsing.com. And I do that website all on my own dime. I don't ask for money. I don't bill anybody. I do it, and I promote all the restaurants equally, all the other businesses equally, and I send out an email every single week to 1,000 people that are on this email list. And here's this week's events, which this takes a couple hours every week for me to put together. And I actually pay somebody to do it because I don't have enough time. I pay for this out of my own pocket. So why is Brian Schug picking on me? Why is he having memory losses? Why is he coming in with other agencies? Why is he calling me on the phone? Because I'm now going in front of the planning board for something totally different. And I reached out to one of the members from the board. I reached out to the advisor from the board. Why is he now saying, Marcus, he called me, yelling at me, very irate. That's not how things are done around here. You have no right to contact anybody. He basically said, he goes, I'm in charge. You're not to speak to anybody else. Those were his words. I'm in charge. You're not to speak to anybody else. Excuse me, Brian, but that is taking away my First Amendment right to speak to whomever in government. Okay, I can speak to the mayor. I can speak to other people that are on these boards. I'm allowed to speak to a lot of people that are appointed. I'm allowed to speak to people who work for the village, that are involved in the village. Either they work for or they work on the village, or they do work for the village. I'm allowed to speak to these. That's part of the government process. That's my First Amendment right. But Brian Schug basically said, no, you don't have that right. And a couple years previous to that, his fire inspector, Carl Hinkle, when he was doing an inspection, I was talking about something that I wasn't really happy with, and he said, Marcus, the last thing you want to do is call the mayor, because that only complicates things. You need me for anything? You're doing it. Order? Yeah. Okay. So he said, the last thing you want to do is contact the mayor, because that only complicates things. Okay. So it's not just Brian Schug saying that I can't talk to other people in government. It's actually his department in general, and it's been like that for years, because I've had 2 experiences now where they said you have no First Amendment rights and don't talk to anybody else, basically, and that story, which is extremely highly illegal. Lots of ramifications for that for the village. This is a major liability for the village of Ellenville to have an employee that is taking away people's First Amendment rights. Major violation. So as I'm posting these videos and posting these things on Facebook, people are, and I'm saying that he just can't remember. He's just not remembering what he's talking about. Several other contractors have come forward to me and say, Marcus, you're totally right. He does not remember. He can't remember for some reason. And I know the village knows he can't remember. I know this. I know the village officials know that he has a problem remembering things. I know that for a fact. Village of Ellenville officials, he has a problem remembering. So why in the world is this guy out there out of control, picking on a business owner like me, doing what he's doing, and taking away my First Amendment right? This guy's a violation. If he was working for me, he wouldn't be working for me. I think if this was any other municipality, you couldn't have him work for you. He's a liability. So other people have also approached me and said, Marcus, well, Brian Schug was sick. He had cancer. He had this. He had that. And I've heard the cancer thing a couple times. And hey, if you've had cancer, I feel bad. That's terrible. It's a terrible thing. But what's worse than cancer is the cancer medicines that they use for cancer. And there are some serious implications for taking radiation and chemo. Serious implications. And one of those things is actually memory loss. You suffer memory loss from taking these meds. There's also other medications. So, whether he has other issues going on or whether he's been on medications to prevent issues, because a lot of people are on certain medications like statins to prevent issues. So anxiety drugs also cause memory loss. This is from medicaldaily.com. Anxiety drugs are really known for a memory loss. Statin drugs, cholesterol drugs, another one that impairs people's memory. You're not able to remember things. Antidepressant drugs, number 3 on the list. Number 4, hypertension drugs, beta blockers, also impair your memory. And number 5, sleeping aids. Sleeping aids are also not good for your memory. So here's my question. If Brian Schug has a medical condition, maybe he's not able to fulfill his job as the building inspector. Or here, maybe just flat out, he's just not writing things down. And, you know, I can't remember everything. We're all normal people, and we all can't remember every single thing we talk about and we point out, which is understandable. So maybe Brian Schug needs to just document stuff a bit more. And in his job description that the village sent me, it says he must document things, decisions, and I put that in one of my other videos. I put that part of his job description right up in the screen there, that he must document things. So when he's talking to somebody like me in 2012 about building something, that should have all been documented in his folder. And maybe it is documented in his folder, he's just not revealing his folder at his office yet. I really don't know that. Now, I document things. I have video cameras at the restaurant, so if you were to come into my restaurant and start yelling at me, for instance, and getting aggressive with me and doing things, I have all that on video camera. So I have evidence, and I document things like that. I try to send emails, and I'm lucky I was able to send Brian emails back in 2012 with a diagram of the tent, with a diagram of the fire pit back there, and I have responses from him. So I have things documented. Did he lose his emails? Did he forget he has email? Did he forget that he know how to even use email? I don't know, because if he has memory loss, what in the world's going on here? Maybe that's a little far-fetched, but it's in his emails, okay? So that's the bottom line. Now, several other people have approached me and said, Marcus, yes, his memory is not what it used to be. You know, he's just not, he's not all there with it. He'll be yelling at you. One guy said he came on the site and started yelling and screaming, I'm going to shut this place down and this and that, while the guy's digging. I can't believe he did this, while the other guy's not there. And then he sees the other guy a couple weeks later, and he's like, hey, how's it going? How you doing? Like, you were just like yelling and bitching and screaming me out on the job site a couple weeks before to another contractor, and you're saying hi to me now like nothing's even wrong? So there are witnesses that have come to me with all these things, and the list goes on and on, because the more that I'm posting, the more people are coming forward. So if you have anything, you can email me at lackofethics@exposeellenvillebuildinginspector.com. That's the best email. I have so many different emails that I want to make sure if you have something on this issue, it's going to go to that box, and I can have a record in that folder, in that box, if you have any comments or critiques or anything on these videos or my situation, or if you can help me in my situation at all. So why can Brian Schug not remember? Well, you know, it's up in the air why he can't remember. And it's a shame that he's picking on a business like me, that he's threatening my livelihood, because if he were to shut down my garden tomorrow, let's say you say, shut this garden down, nobody can be back here because it's illegal. And if I had to cancel a wedding that I had booked for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, a party, this and that, he is directly impacting my livelihood and my business. And for the position that he's in, he's here to enhance my livelihood and to help me make money, not to impose regulations and impose his sort of tyranny. Because this is basically a tyranny when you just all of a sudden start saying stuff and just changing your mind, and it has to be your rules, and I can't speak to other people in government. I'm only to address you, and you're the boss and you're in charge, which he made extremely, extremely clear on that phone call to me. And so did one of his previous fire inspectors, made that extremely clear, that do not contact other people in government. Do not contact the mayor. I'm the one in charge. This was clear as day, people. So do you live in a village or a municipality where they are taking away your First Amendment right to be able to address whomever in government, in your local government? How would you feel if you were told, don't talk to the mayor, don't talk to this, don't talk to anybody in government, don't talk to someone, I'm the only person here that can answer your questions, and I'm the one in charge? You'd feel pretty upset. You'd feel pretty ripped off. And that's how I feel. I feel upset and ripped off, and I feel that I have legal ramifications. And not do I feel, I know I have legal ramifications for situations like that. These are very well documented court cases where you cannot take away someone's First Amendment right. So if Brian Schug does not remember anything from here on forward, or if he can only remember one thing, I would say, don't tell people that. That's the one thing you should remember, because that's going to get you in the most hot water. It's going to get the village in the most hot water. It's a major liability. Remember, don't take somebody's First Amendment right away. Thank you for watching this video. If you like my videos, please hit like, subscribe. If you want to watch the other Brian Schug videos, there's supposed to be links on this with annotations. You can hit links. You can watch the other ones. I'll put them in the description. You can follow this story. You can follow this drama, because I think it's going to go a lot further than this. Thanks for watching.